I have something here that I consider to be pretty cool. This is my new 3DS XL, and you can see there's Final Fantasy 1. This is actually a Game Boy, this is actually a Nintendo DS game that has been translated just recently, as of March 2022, to English. So you have to have a copy of the DS version, which is originally Japanese. This one here is in CIA version, so it was actually installed on the 3DS here. And then you need to do some basically on-the-fly patching, which I can show you how to do after, but let's test it out. This is a double IPS, so it should have good reflection. I got this working on my other DS, so I know it should work in theory, but I might have messed it up. Well, it's English. So I didn't even know this game existed on the DS, but it looks kind of like the PSP version, which is awesome, because before, in my opinion, other than maybe the Pixel remaster, the PSP version was one of the best, probably the best. The Game Boy Advance version was really cool, but this one's really nice. It has the larger sprites in that, which is cool. I'm not sure if I don't know, maybe this will have some of the bonus dungeons that were in the Game Boy Advance game. I have to look into it, which I will do. But my assumption is it's basically the same as the PSP version. That's awesome. Rather than the PSP version where you don't have the screen on the bottom, I have a map here obviously all the time, which is great. Yeah, let's not get into a fight. Probably don't have any equipment. The soundtrack sounds to be the same as the PSP. Oh, here comes equipped. So it looks like they did a really good job. Like all the text fits in here well. You know, I've seen translations where the text comes outside the box and that, but it looks like they did a really good job with that. Alright, let's see how it looks in a battle. Yeah, the menus look great. I wonder if they based this on the PSP version, the translation, and like some of the graphics in that. I can tell you it looks beautiful on the IPS screen. I got really lucky having a double IPS screen, but it looks wonderful. It's a lot bigger than the PSP, obviously, the screen. Almost like a Vita size. Not quite, but... yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to play through the game, but it's really neat. I kind of like this more than the PSP version because it has the bottom screen, which you have the map, and you have your HP in that, which is really cool, and then you just get the exploration map on the top. So this is the PSP version of Final Fantasy. This is the DS version, which was never released in English until this patch. So I mean, obviously the screens are different, but yeah, so it looks to be the PSP, basically the PSP version. I don't know which is first. Maybe the DS was first, the PSP came second. I don't know. I just never even knew this existed, so my whole world has been shook. But let's select. English, obviously. So there's already some differences. I mean, there's more real estate here between the screens. So let's, but it looks to be about the same. Auto name is select on here. Mikoto, okay. Start. So it's going to be the same intro, obviously. So it's the same game actually. You know, here we just have the main screen here, which looks great. And then on the DS, we have the map on the bottom, but otherwise it looks identical. So I guess it's, I don't know which is the port here. Is the DS the port, or is the PSP the port, or were they developed simultaneously? You know, the PSP Go has a nice screen here. It looks really crisp, but the resolution is fine. This 3DS obviously is kind of not average because it has a double IPS screen, so the colors are really bright regardless of the orientation. But yeah, it's the same game. So basically it's the PSP version on the DS, but it's native. Let's have a look at a battle. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a game changer. You know, you get the standard kind of Final Fantasy strip along the bottom. This is what you would get normally in any game from this era. But it's kind of cool to have the you know, the screen on the bottom, the information down there with the map and everything. So I mean, really, I mean, in terms of ultra portable, obviously the PSP Go is superior. But it's kind of nice to have the map on the bottom and then have, you know, all your options down there, and you get the full art here because it's actually being cut off over here. You can see, it's just kind of cool. So yeah, there you go. Basically, it's the same as the PSP version. Okay, so there's a few things you're going to need. The first is at this site here, Game Banana. This is just kind of a guide that I followed through. You can follow this yourself. But here's the actual patch. Same website, Game Banana. This is where I got it off of Reddit post, actually. And so mods and 348662. Anyway, so this is the patch here. So you just come in and you're going to download it. Which is right here. So there's an older version, this is the newer version, which is the one I just installed. So you just download that, it's going to give you a zip file, which I might as well just do. Okay, so we're just going to put that there. It's just translation_v2. You'll want to remember what that is. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install the CIA copy of this game. You know, you can't use the old, just like the DS dump version. You need a CIA inject that can be put onto the DS, onto the 3DS. So you install that onto your 3DS. I can't tell you where to get it, obviously, but you're going to install that. Once that's on there, you're going to need this little code here. This is the game ID. I'll put that down, it's string down later, but we're going to copy that, and that corresponds to Final Fantasy. So we're going to need that. We're going to need the patch. Basically, once the game is installed, you know, use your FBI and you install it. Once that's done, you're good to go. So I'll actually show you how this works now. Okay, so I just have my SD card in here from my my standard 3DS. So the folder you're going to want here is the Luma folder here. So you're going to go in there and you're going to see this here titled. If you don't have this folder, you just create it. So I didn't have it, I just created this folder. So again, that's Luma. This is a modded, obviously, 3DS. Titles, and that's that number. That's that string that I had before. So you're going to need that string. You're originally not going to have this. You're going to have an empty folder here, and what you do is you just create a new file, and you copy that string in, the one that I got off the website, and that is basically the title ID for the Final Fantasy game. So that right there corresponds, and your game is going to know, your 3DS is going to know that that is for this specific game. You can have the game installed already, or you can do it in this order first. It doesn't really matter. Basically what happens is when you have the game installed, it's then you're going to have it look here for a patch. So this is going to be an empty folder because I created it, obviously. You're going to come in here to this patch that you downloaded, you're just going to copy it. You're going to go back to your Luma titles, your brand new folder that you created with that title ID, and this will be empty, and you just paste it in here. So this wants to override, obviously I don't want to do that. That's it, that's done. Your patch is in here. When you load up the game, the 3DS is going to be able to load up that patch. Now, you do have to change a setting on your 3DS to have this work, to basically tell it to do an on-the-fly patch. You might already have this enabled, but if not, I'll show you how to do it. It's actually really straightforward. So I will get my 3DS loaded up here real quick. And again, it doesn't matter which 3DS you have. This will be the same for new 3DS, old 3DS, any of them. So we'll get this loaded up. I'll just do this on the fly. Probably should have used my other 3DS because it has a IPS screen, but this should be fine. Okay, so we're going to go into my homebrew stuff. There's the game there. It's already installed. I've already done this. So when you install the game, the CIA, this is going to pop up. If you were to just load it, it's going to be Japanese. So it's fine. You can play the game in Japanese. If you have the game, you can dump it. You can create that, inject there, and then you'll have it in Japanese. But I want it to be in English. So you go into, what you need to do is you need to actually reboot your 3DS, holding select. This is obviously a modded one. This won't work unless your 3DS is modded. So you're going to hold select and turn on the power. And you can see right there. So on this top screen, this is what you need here. Mine was not enabled by default. So it's enable game patching. You basically enable that and then you restart. That's all you gotta do. So once that's enabled, you restart your device. Once that's enabled, when you load a game, it's going to then look in that Luma folder for that title ID and see if the game that you're playing matches the same title ID of the English patch. And so what will happen is it will load up the Japanese game, but then it's going to look in that Luma folder and say, okay, well, there's a patch in there, an English patch. So it'll load that up. So we can see here, this is the Japanese one. There we go. Same idea. So it's actually really easy. Get the version, get a copy of this game, the DS version and the CIA version, inject it, move that patch here from this website over here onto your Luma folder, and then make sure you have that one setting enabled, and away you go. And then, yeah, you're basically ready to go. That's funny. That's actually a guy from Final Fantasy IV. I wonder if he might be in this game too. Is he one of those dwarf dudes? Look at that, easy peasy. So, the whole process of this, once you have the game installed, 2 or 3 minutes and you're ready to go. You don't have to mess around with patching games off, on your Windows PC or anything like that. You're just ready to rumble.